All right, we're back in the studio after our successful uh, search for the photo of the day in this spring break project. And the first thing we do is open Lightroom and do a file, import photos and video, which I've completed. There's a number of options there. I'm not going to do a full Lightroom tutorial here, but you have a number of options as to which hard drive you place the files on, and whether you're copying them or actually moving them. I normally copy them from the card, get them on my hard drive, do add keywords, and then I pop the card out, eject the card, and I delete it in the camera. I don't do any editing or do any alterations to the data on the card from the computer. I do all that from the camera because it's been set up with the camera and therefore rather use the camera to actually do the adjustments. So in Lightroom here, all my images are up in the import as my previous import. I could go down to the date. It sorts it by date, end day, year, day, and today is actually March 7th. So I'm actually can click here and it's the same photos basically. The thing about Lightroom, it's got different tabs: the library, the develop, the map, the book, slideshow, print, and web. You start out on library and you kind of work you through which ones you need to do. I normally do library, develop, slideshow. Well, actually library, sometimes develop, sometimes I jump to slideshow because I can go full screen and I can get a better idea what my images look like. But library is a good place to sort images, and there's certain functions in Lightroom that will only work in the particular tab that you're in. So if you lose a menu item or something, it's probably because you're in a different tab, and to me that's a little confusing, but I've got used to switching tabs to look for it. So in the library is the best place to rate your images. If you just double click on the image, it'll bring up a full screen, and I'm actually viewing these much smaller so that I can record them to this video and share it. So at this point I would have generally a much bigger screen, much more real estate, but in this case I don't because I have this reduced size. So this was that first flower that I discovered at the recording studio. I can zoom in more than this if I want to, because if I want to see if I actually had a sharp focus or not, I can see pretty well just looking at it that it looks a little bit soft focus. But I do have that bokeh, or those circles of confusion back there. Not highly defined because they were actually reflecting off of some leaves that weren't real shiny. But it's still, it's still kind of fun. If I use the keyboard shortcut L, I can actually go to a black screen where I can see only the image with none of the other distracting details around it. And this is where I generally start, and I just kind of tab through. And you can see that one's much sharper. My exposure is better because I tweaked it a little bit. I can kind of just go through them fast and get a sense for whether I like my composition. And now I've jumped to my next series there. So I'm going to go back here and just kind of say out of these images, which I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 9 images there. I would say probably, all things considered, this one's got a little bit of strength. I like a little bit of what's going on. I kind of like the interesting line that the roof actually took there. Not so much that one, but this one I do like. So I'm just going to hit 3, which is going to give that a rating of 3. And which means it's in the running, it's an acceptable one. That one's blown out. I could actually delete that if I wanted, but I don't normally at this point. It's one of the first well-exposed images right there, so either one of those are kind of interesting. What I'm looking at now is the overall image, the bokeh, the balance, the color between these two here. I think I like that one better, so I'm going to put a 3 on there. I'm going to jump ahead because that's about it on those for me at the moment, I think. I'm going to look at this one. This was the palm, oh, I don't know what it was, a seed pod or something, whatever's hanging down from the palm tree there, in the same location. And the specular highlight in the background, the little spot of reflection coming off of a car that I saw over there, is what I noticed, and that's what I decided to start playing with and see what that looks like. It has such a bizarre look to it. Now in the field, when I looked at these images on the monitor, that one was my favorite one. Some of these other ones, they're okay. Well, that one I didn't really like. I liked it better when I started breaking this into the image there. And again, I think that my favorite was that one. I'm going to give it a 3. Keep looking. Guess that was another fun one there. 3 there. I'm doing this relatively quickly. That one I like some of the color got introduced. Did some interesting things there. That one I don't like as much. I'm going to tag that one a 3. And come up. Oh, now we're back onto the ground. This is where the spider wart was. This is the third one. This all happened in a matter of, maybe 10 or 15 minutes that we were waiting for someone to get to the sound studio, and I just was looking around for a few images, spotted this spider wart on the ground, and I had a little bit of a specular highlight in the background I decided to play with. Almost every one of these looks a little more overexposed than I would have liked. So what I'm really looking for is composition. And I don't like that strand cutting across the bottom there, that arm or that leaf. So this is one that, if it has potential, I'm going to look for the most focused one, and I'm probably going to crop it. So what I'm going to do here is hit the zoom tool, which is actually by default was already on, and I'm going to zoom in. Now I'm going to actually jump through these and move them around a little bit till I can see some close detail. Because what I'm actually looking for now is the sharpest one. The reason that I'm looking for the sharpest one, of course, I probably always want the sharpest one, but the reason I'm looking is because I'm probably going to crop this pretty tight. And when I do, I need to make sure I have a really good image. Looks like it might be between these two right here. I'm going to give that one a 3 just in case. And go up a little bit more. That one's pretty good too. Let's see, give it a second to load. This one jump in. This one looks like it might even be sharper. Yeah, that one's the best right there. No doubt in it. Step back and look at this one. Yeah, these just, it's soft focus. I really didn't care for them that much. So I'm going to probably take a 3 off of that other one that I had there in a minute. This is a new image, I think. I know it's still my spider wart. I have to give it a few seconds to load from the data. That's a pretty good one too. Do a 3 there, and then we're out of that one. So now I'm going to click again. It'll bring me back to the image in 100% view. Hit L again so I can come back and see one of these. I think it was that one. I did not. Yeah, it was soft. So I'm going to hit a 0. Take my rating off of that one. Come back to this one. And now I'm going to go into these, which for some reason decide, oh yeah, because I had it on Zoom. This was some very interesting light. Again, a specular highlight coming off the side of, actually coming off the back of a car, I believe, that was sitting there. And there's a palm tree here and some ferns and a piece of iron sculpture here. And I kind of like that, so I started playing with that. So far, I'm going to look through it. I don't see what I really want. So what I'll do is quickly go through. Those were definitely too bright. I had a palm tree in the background, and I was trying to shoot through both the fern and into the palm, and then get the specular highlight filter. So none of those, all those are a little too bright. This one I like a little bit. That one not so much. This is probably my best one right there. And it's going to be cropped, so I'm going to give it a 3. You can tell right away it's going to need some cropping. And the reason I didn't like this one is I didn't like the focus point. Although it could have potential if this little shadow up here ends up coming into play. So I better 3 that just in case. And then I'm going to back up and see what am I looking for that's a nice detail and interesting. Not enough interest there. Not enough interest there. Maybe some interest there. And then we pretty much get blown out, which we might use something there, but I don't think so, because our specular highlight was too bright and too overexposed. And go up to that's the last image there that we shot. So again, L gets me out of this black bordered view. And now that I have all these stars, the ones that are kind of interesting, what I do then is quickly go to my rating of my stars and I reduce it down to only my 3 stars or higher. So I started with 53 photos, and that was like done within about a 15-minute period. And now I've got 9 photos. So now that I have 9 photos, then I jump to the Develop tab. And in the Develop tab, when it loads, I'll first crop my image, most likely. And then I'll do just a few minor adjustments. I shoot fairly flat to start with, which means it's not actually applying any color grading or settings to my image when I shoot like that. So then I have to apply a little bit myself. Otherwise, the image will be a little flatter than I actually saw it when I captured it. All right, so I clicked on crop. Aspect ratio is at as shot. I'm going to do it 1.618 to 1, which is actually a golden, the golden mean or golden rectangle. And you can see that I have these points here for my composition. It divides into thirds both directions. My point of interest is in one of these thirds here. And then I choose that point. Usually choose it by sharp focus because that's how I shoot it. Sometimes I'll change it though. So just as it is right there, I can just hit the enter key because I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to sharpen a little bit, bring a little bit of clarity in. Just see it just sharpen a little bit, about 47 or so. Vibrance is generally a way that you push the saturation up, bring the saturation up without affecting skin tones. So theoretically, if you don't have skin tones, I'm going to double click on that to reset it to 0. You could just use a saturation because it will actually bring all your tones, it will saturate it. So vibrance is somewhat saturating most of your tones, but not oversaturating your skin tone. Once I get this one set where I feel like it's a pretty good average, let me bring this up a little bit, like there, I'm actually going to consider if these all have the similar exposure, then I'll actually use the shift key, get the last one, and I'll do sync them. And what that's going to do is it's going to match all the settings I just did to this particular image, and all in one shot, it's going to synchronize all my settings, which means it's going to put a slight crop on them the same way I crop this. It's going to also do those adjustments that I did here. So I have them all selected. If I do Command D, I'll deselect them. Then I'll go back here and now I'll step through. And so I've already kind of preset my composition. I crop everything. I'm still in Develop module. If I click on this, I can see it is cropped just like the one that I did before it, which is good. I hit enter. I can also see my settings down here are the same as the one before. And they actually look okay for now. Go to my next one. This one looks okay. I mean, I can check my crop, but I have a sense of what it did and I'm okay with it. That one too, I'm okay with it at this point. This one, not so much. I don't like the soft focus. I don't like, I knew this was an iffy photo. I didn't know whether I'm going to make it or not, so I'm going to actually crop this one down, see if I can if I can salvage anything out of it. I don't know if I can. At this point, it doesn't look very good as far as salvaging because I ended up with soft focus. But it's interesting. So I did jump in a lot closer, got a pretty crazy look to it. Again, this is not sitting as my favorite, but you know, something might come out of it. These are the spider warts that I said I would definitely crop different. And so I'm going to lower this one down like that. I'm going to start to bring this in. There's a couple different things I can do to utilize this image. One is cropping it and repositioning it a little bit. I'm afraid, and this is why I want it in focus, because I'm afraid I'm going to be a little too close to this when I'm done, but I have a lot of resolution to work with. Again, I'm working with my point of interest here. This one actually I'm going to sharpen a little bit more. I'm going to push it up a little more because I want to sharpen that detail right there. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pull my vibrance up like that. I like that. I'm going to actually click on the next one, use my command key, and I'm going to sync these two now because I like how I treated that one, and I'm going to see if I can get the next one to act the same way. Which if I click on it to look at it, it's a different image, so it does need some work. I need to kind of pull this up into the same general composition like that. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that overall. And then here's second to the last image. Again, we're going to look at the crop. I got to bring this one down. I got to bring it up a little bit. I like those iron lines. My bokeh's kind of off in an odd spot, but it's kind of interesting. If this is sharp enough, I can bring this up. I like that line going over there. And I'm going to sharpen this a bit more because I want to define that line a little bit more. And bring up my clarity a little bit. And again, since I like that on that one, I'm going to hope that I like it on this one, so I'll synchronize the two of them. Just to see where it lands. It looks like it did land about the same spot. This is the first one. This is the second one. This one has a lot of issues, and well, maybe not too bad. I had to wait for it to load. But anyway, my point of focus here is actually a different location than the other one. So this one I'm going to move. I'm going to move it up to about there because my sharpest point of interest is right there, and I just like the way that worked. That's a pretty interesting image right there. I wander a little bit because I see, visually I come up to my object, I see what's sharp focus, I see this bokeh and so these lines out here, and so it does make it dynamic because I am sort of falling around there, but again, I kind of sense some mystery there right away because I'm not familiar with all that is in the image, what was really seen there. So there's some mystery there. So now I'm down to my images. My 9 images have been cropped and tweaked. They're all graded at 3s. And so what I do is shift click all of them, and I go to slideshow. And when I go to slideshow, it will go to full screen. Takes a few minutes to go. I'm actually processing my video data in the background, so I'm really pushing my processor at the moment, so I have a little bit of a delay. But you see it kind of puts it in pretty slideshow form that somebody could, you could view it for a client. But in my case, I'm actually going to go full screen just so I get a larger image. And again, I'm working at about 1/3 of my normal screen resolution just so I can record this video using a free download of Camtasia. Camtasia I've used before. It's a pretty reliable product. I believe we have a authorization code for it because I've already used it to produce videos. I just didn't have it, so I did a quick free download and gives you 30 days to use it. So it says it's preparing each slide. What it's doing is it's sort of doing a soft render of my edits that I made to it, which of course are just recorded as data changes, and then it goes full screen, and it might end up not using my Camtasia screen, which if that's the case, yeah, it's going full screen outside of the reach of Camtasia. I thought that might happen, but I wasn't sure. And it will automatically slide through each one of these. I'm going to leave it go because most of the composition that you'll see is part of the piece until it switches off the side of the screen. If it doesn't work, then I'll come back and try to reduce it to show you. But this is my normal workflow, is to look at it absolutely full screen. I can hit the space bar and stop it at any point. Right now I'm just sort of letting my senses visualize each image and get a feel for what I like and what I don't. At any moment I could hit a 2 and it would knock off that image. It would rate it down to a 2 and it would drop out of my slide collection right now, which is what I do sometimes. So if I hit the space bar now I can use the arrow key to quickly go through these once they're loaded. This is an interesting piece. This one I like better because I like the color and the angle on the roof line as I was looking up. So out of these two, I think, and I also kind of like that fuchsia color I got because of the sun filtering through the tops of them. It's maybe a little soft focus, but still kind of fun and festive looking against that green. And this one here is mysterious, and again was originally one of my favorites. I still like it. I think out of the two of these, I jump back and forth. I think out of the two of these, I like this one better. So I'm going to jump back and hit 2, which will drop that one off of my selection, so it's gone. This one, originally I thought had too many issues, but now I actually, being cropped close, there's even more mystery here. Nobody knows what it is, really, unless I tell them, and sometimes I title it with a clue, but it does have some chromatic aberrations, I guess they call them. Is that the right way to say it? I think so. I can see some along the edge of the piece because of the lens and the image sensor. You either get a magenta or green kind of, what do you call it, highlight or shadow to it, I guess. And I can actually eliminate that. So I'm not really worried about it too much. I mean, I don't like it, but it's okay. This is spiderwort. Now again, it's 1, 2, 1, 2. I jump back and forth 1, 2, just to kind of see which one is a little more powerful. It looks like that one's better. This one looks like that one's better. Yeah, so I can hit a 2 and drop one of those away. Only have that one. Now I'm down to this one that again I cropped tight on that iron sculpture. A fern just trickling over the top, kind of a strange line. Both of them are okay. I kind of look for something sharp enough that I can relate to it, although I don't have a problem with it being completely soft focused for art's sake. This one here, I have the fern closest to us, or kind of midway there, in fairly sharp focus, but the iron is not in focus. This one here, the iron is in sharp focus, but that fern's not, but the upper one is. So I guess it's between, do I like that soft, blurred iron, or do I like the rough, textured iron? I'm an iron junkie. I love iron. I love welding and building things out of steel. So I would say this one I like better. I also like shadows, and I like this shadow work that's going on right here. And I think you can see part of that fern. So I probably, one of these two, but they're so different, I'm going to keep them both in there. I'm going to hit the escape key and get out of my slide mode. I think, for your sake, I can go back into my develop mode, and I can hide these panels on the side here and the bottom. I can't get much bigger than that, but at least I can go black. And so now you can actually see my images. If it's not in slide mode, I can use the arrow keys, but I can't go stuck at the beginning. I can't go in a circle with my images. I have to go back and forth. And right now my processor is really having a hard time because I'm doing all my rendering. So when I hit my arrow key to go next, yeah, made a liar of me. It is actually doing a circle with them. I know at times it seems that it would not, but I guess since I'm got them all selected. So again, that was the first one that you just saw. I backed up. That was the first image I shot. This is the second. I kept them both, but I like this one better. So I could actually upgrade this one to a 4 if I feel strong enough about it. I'm having second thoughts because I like the sharper focus on this one. I like the sharp detail in the flower. In this one, I kind of lost it. It got soft and sort of just blurred into color. I like the color, and I like the blue, but I like this detail better. So at this point, I'm going to give this a 4 because that's stronger for a number of reasons. Not that I'm going to lose that one, I'm just going to go on. This one I really did love from the get-go. But I like this one because I love the dreamy red color that got introduced in my what do you call it? My specular highlight over there, or my bokeh, got cut in half, sort of, or cut down. And again, see, here I am. This happens to me quite often, that I get stuck where I like a few of my images at the end of the day. And right now it's only about 5, and this is generally when I do my image review because we're getting into some pretty nice light outside. And so if I don't have an image, this is the time I actually go looking for the light and try to find a nice composition in my yard. But I have so many beautiful images here to choose for. It's likely that I'm going to be happy with one of them. My spiderwort, it's not bad. Again, I cropped it quite tight because I didn't like what I had originally. I'm really liking this one. I'm really liking my composition, my lines coming up to my little fern, my shadow of my fern, my texture of my metal. But this one's fun in its own right because the fern is in focus and everything else has sort of got this soft glow to it overall. So, again, here I am. Hit L again to get out of that soft proofing that I'm doing. And I ended up with, 9 images, I think I said? No, I cut 2 of them out. I had 9. I reduced it down to 9 for my original review and critique. Now I'm down to 7, but I'm stuck at 7. Something's got to, one of these images got to be greater than the other one, you would think. So let's go back through it again. This is the first image, which I actually gave this one a 4, and none other has a 4 yet, but I don't know if that's really going to stay that way. So again, this one to this one, like the color better of this one, like the blue in this one, but I like the detail in this one. And actually, this one, this interesting shapes that I got out of the Circles of Confusion out there, I actually don't like that as much. It looks like almost like an animated face or something, and so with a long nose or something like that. So that's kind of bugging me a little bit. So I'm going to grade this back to a 3 again. And I'm going to move up to this one and say, I really am leaning towards this one. I'm going to give it a 4. And I'm going to go to the next one and say, okay, between this one and this one, can I feel stronger about one to the other one? I don't know. It's a tough call. I love the color. I love the softness. I like the broken edges there on the bokeh. There's barely in focus. So little. It's such soft focus everywhere that I would normally consider rejecting it, but I like it. I just like the abstract softness and fun to it. So I still like both of these. All right, well, let's go on to here. This one, I'm not liking it as much. It's just not, I've had better shots of that. It's springtime, there's going to be a lot of these blooming. I know I can get a better shot of it, so I'm going to hit a 2, and I'm just going to get rid of that one. And here, now we go between the iron in focus, iron out of focus. Which one do you like better? Iron in focus, iron out of focus. Iron in focus, iron out of focus. Ooh, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I guess I like the iron in focus, but I like this composition better. I like the way this line is laying out here. It's thin line where it ended up being nearly the same focal length as this. The softness doesn't bother me. It becomes more abstract and less defined. More part of the composition, less part of the actual picture. This is sharp enough that it makes me happy. And I actually could bring out the shadows a little bit here out of that fern, to maybe tweak that up a little bit more, just to give it enough power that it's stronger than what else is going on there. Alright, so did that help? Yeah, I think so. I kicked up my shadows a little bit. Lightroom has incredible tools for doing these fine adjustments. And again, most every photo I post has no Photoshop work. It has very minor adjustments after it comes right out of the camera. I do shoot flat, which most cameras do not shoot neutral or flat. I guess the setting on the Canons is called neutral. Very important to shoot neutral if you're going to do the color grading afterwards, especially with video. But images, same thing applies. It's just probably a lot of photographers don't think about it. You think about it more as a videographer, I think. But I like all my colors in here. I like the softness. This one's rating pretty high. I'm going to give it a 4. I'm going to go back through this really quick because I did rate some with a 4. Gave that one a 3. That one's got a 4. Back to these two here. Which is the strongest? This one or that one? This one or that one? You know, because of the soft colors that came from the car that was behind, and the delicate nature of this, and the abstract nature of it, I'm going to give this a 4. So at this point I could jump out if I wanted to, and I could go up here and hit one more star, and I'd be down to 3 images. Am I happy with those 3 images? I don't know. Never know. 1, 2, 3. And actually this is the first image, so I normally go 1, 2, 3. Okay, I like them all. So now I'm going to go back here to this image. So this image actually, although I like it, it needs more sharpness to it. It just needs more sharpened to the edges, maybe a little bit more vibrance. I want to look at my crop again and see where I ended up cropping it, whether I want to change it at all. So I'm trying to decide whether maybe I could improve it by changing my crop a little bit. I like that a little better, I think. I'm basing this on my sharpness of focus right at this point here in my lines and my color. I like on my color. I kind of think I feel like that helped that. I'm gonna hit enter here so I can bring it in and see if that helped that piece a little bit. I'm gonna move forward to that one, see if there's anything it needs. I don't think so. This one, not so much. Go back to the beginning. And actually here, now I might come in and just put a little bit of a vignette on it, just because it'll help bring my focus in if I put just a slight vignette on it. Like that. Sort of darkens my edges a little bit to bring my focus back into here. And I generally do that just slightly with every image, as I don't always do it with every image, but it is pretty common edit that I do. I just have to watch that it doesn't take too much away from the overall image. That one's a little, I can't put more than about 5, a -5 on there, and then go back up to my basic settings to make sure I got everything I want there. I did bring up my shadows a little bit, plus about 64. Okay, let this go away, go back to my black. So now I started with 9, I went down to 7, I'm now down to 3 images. I'm actually doing pretty good. I've already used quite a bit of time, your time and mine. Am I going to shoot some more, or am I going to pick an image? That's where we're at right now. shoot some more. I'm going to pick an image. Well, let's look at the critique one more time, be hypercritical. What do I love about this image? I love the color. I love the color. I love the softness. I have very little bokeh in the background to speak of because there was not much in the way of specular highlights or any small spots of light back there. So it's mostly color and shape, repetition of shape, beautiful colors, some lines that sort of lead me in a sense. I could actually even rotate this one if I wanted to, but I don't think it'll help it to rotate it. We'll leave it there. This one here, lots of mystery. Most viewers would have no idea what they're looking at. This one actually, I think, could use a little more saturation. That's what I feel about this one. And again, every time as I'm narrowing it down to what I like, what I don't, those kind of things, this is where I might do some little bit of tweaking to say if I can improve this image, if I can make it a little stronger, maybe it will be the photo of the day. So I just brought the saturation up slightly to bring in my colors. And this is the last one. Does it need any saturation? Not so much. I think there's a delicate balance there. If anything, my shadows could come up just slightly, which I've already done that a bit, but I'm not afraid to push it more because it's not going to hurt it. And I can always back off of it. I'm actually going to max it right out, plus 100. Look at it and go back, and go back into that view. So there we go again. 1, that's my first one right here. 2. So the first one's all about color, soft, fun color. This one's about mystery, very mysterious. I have no idea what you're looking at, but it's abstract and fun. And this one, you don't really know what you're looking at, but you're very familiar with the little fern, and fern's beautiful. I love the green fern. The specular highlight is just interesting. It's not really performing anything other than an interesting spot of light there. But my eye's drawn up to it. I would say at this point, this is my best contender. And the reason I like this the most is because I love the leading lines that bring my focus up into this area. I notice this beautiful leaf. When I get here, I start to ponder the mystery and wonder about the shapes and the color. I can spend a bit of time here. Not sure what this dark spot is here, but I'm real happy with this image, and I can just sort of sit here and gaze at it for a while. I'm not lost because there's something familiar here, but I'm also not completely clear on what all the other elements of the image are. So this is probably a number 5 right now, rated at 5, because it's probably out of the 3 of these my strongest image. Which one will I use? Well, I use the one that just strikes my mood at the time. It could be any of these 3 final images, and occasionally I'll go back and look through my other images, pretty rarely. This is mostly at this point I need to move on, and I can't spend too much time of my day on it, even though I've already spent quite a bit of time. Your time and my time. Alright, so I hope you learned something from that. It was a fun experience. I appreciate the effort that Eric Flagg put out in assisting me with our camera work. And I'm ready to shoot some more, and hope you are too. Again, this is a photo of the day by Wes Lindbergh. Work at Santa Fe College as a digital media professor. Love to inspire all the creative people that surround me. I love to learn from those creative people, my students and friends, family. And at this point, I'm excited for my next project. Thanks.